if you're about to pick the next book you're going to read, you're going to want to hear this. Here's the book, Woman in the Wind, and I've got the author here. You're watching Briggs on Books, our truly international talk show on books and authors. And welcome, Greg Stout.
Thanks very much. Nice to be with you today.
I'm excited about the book, Woman in the Wind. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it is the third in a series which I guess I'm under contract for 6, so this is number 3. It's the third in the Jackson Gamble Private Investigator Mystery Series, which is set in Nashville, Tennessee, which, by the way, is where BoucherCon is next month. So I'm going to have to go.
You're going to be there? Where you have your
Yes.
books?
Yes.
Nice. And that will be in Nashville?
Yes.
Nice. And now you're a long way from Nashville. You're in St. Gerardo, Missouri, right?
St. Gerardo. We're about 3.5 hours driving.
Okay, very good. Now, The Woman in the Wind, that's not your first book, is it? That's your most recent, I should say.
No.
I think maybe the next most recent was this one, Lost Little Girl. Is that right?
Lost Little Girl was the first in the series.
Okay.
And I got kind of lucky with that one. I sent that manuscript to 10 publishers. 4 of them wanted it. One of them offered me a 3-book deal, so, that was the one that I took. That one came out in 21. The next one, which was called The Gone Man, came out in 22. Woman in the Wind in 23. And later this year, we'll have the 4th one, which is called Long Time Gone.
Long Time Gone.
Yes.
And here's the Gone Man cover. All your covers are very intriguing. I don't know who does the art, but they kind of pull you in a little bit.
Well, the publisher more or less does the art, but the way it happens is that I pick basically stock photos of, they're all Nashville at night.
Okay.
And they're intended to kind of convey a sense of loneliness and alienation, which is sort of goes with, noir and PI fiction generally.
Yeah, that was my next question. Tell us about your genre. What is the genre? Who's going to be looking to read these books?
Well, if like me, you cut your teeth on somebody like Raymond Chandler, that would be a good choice, or Dennis Lehane, or Walter Mosley, or any of the contemporary PI fiction writers. They all kind of run to a type, which is generally speaking first-person narrative, which for me is much easier to handle.
Yeah.
But I think anybody that likes PI fiction would like these.
We'll like those. Now, the favorite one of yours so far that I wanted to talk about. You said I could go in any order and talk about anything. So tell us about Connor's War. Okay,
Connor's War is it's somewhere between young adult and middle grade. At the end of my working life, the last 12 years that I worked, I was in the private sector for 27 years. My company got bought out. I got bought out. I needed something to do. So I got a master's in education, and I taught in the public school system in Illinois for 12 years. And I had a section of reading every day. Mostly I taught 20th century U.S. history, which was easy because I lived through half of it. But I had a section of reading, and by the end of those 12 years, I had a pretty good handle on what, let's say 8th graders read, and I thought, I bet I can do this. And so I wrote a book called Gideon's Ghost, and it sat for a while, and eventually a publisher picked it up. And then I decided, well, let's try another one. So I did Connor's War, and that one is set during 1968, which was a tumultuous year if you happen to be around for it. We had the Kennedy assassination, we had the King assassination, we had Lyndon Johnson deciding that he was going to stand down, and we had the Tet Offensive. So there was lots going on. So I tried to bring in, I guess because I'm a history teacher, the idea of that as it would apply to a kid, 15, 16 years old, who finds himself spending the summer with his grandfather because both his mother and father are in the service. Mm-hmm. And she is a Navy doctor. She's called back into active duty, and so he's got to go stay someplace. And he goes from from California to a little town in Kansas, which is about as far from California as you can get.
Yes. It's amazing that that was such a tremendous year, really stamped in a lot of our minds. So I guess you kind of cover the history through this book?
Well, I touch on the war, I touch on the assassinations. and just, mostly the disruption, I think, and having not come from a military family, I was guessing at this a little bit, but the disruption that military families would have faced during that period, because it was a lot of uncertainty. People were getting killed in big numbers.
And I think, without spoiling it, we could say maybe his father gets shot down.
He does. He does. And they don't exactly know if he's a POW, if he was KIA, if he's MIA. They don't exactly know what.
But it's not all history and seriousness. That's a boy meet girl book as well, I would guess.
I'm a sucker for a love story.
And you're trying to appeal to the young adult audience. So, yeah, I'm reading that one first. Sorry, Greg. I know that wasn't your top push today, which I want to get back to. Woman in the Wind. When did this come out?
It came out last October.
Okay. And your most recent. And where can people find it? And tell me about this new question everybody makes me ask. What formats is it in?
Well, it's available as an ebook. The YA books are available as ebooks, as print books, and as audiobooks. That publisher does audiobooks. My other publisher, they're working their way into audiobooks, but they're doing it slowly. So it's available. You can order it online at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. My Barnes & Noble here carries it.
Okay.
It's probably a long way to drive for a lot of your listeners to come to southeast Missouri.
Yeah. Now, Women in the Wind, is that an audiobook?
It is not.
Okay. So you get it in paperback or what do you call it? Ebook. That's the same as Kindle, I guess.
Kindle.
Yeah. My kids just sent me a Kindle machine, so I guess I'm going to learn how to use that.
Well, I do reviews for like ITW, and they always want to send me a Kindle, and to me, it's easier to read the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But as my age advances, it's harder and harder for me to see the text in those books. So I'm hoping the Kindle device helps me see better. So.
Yeah, to me, for whatever reason, reading on the screen, maybe because I didn't grow up that way.
Yeah.
And because I don't have a smartphone yet.
Now, Greg, I got a feeling that you're not done with this writing thing. Well, you already said you have a contract to write more books. What's coming up next?
Well, the next one will be out this October. And I'm working on book 5. I'm about 45,000 words through it. So that's a 2025 release, and then there'll be one more that I have no idea what it's going to be, but something will come to me. I hope.
It'll come to you. It'll come to you, no doubt about that. Greg, we're about running out of time. I just want to give you a chance to say anything you would like about your books, about life in general, or messages to the readers.
I think what I'd rather do is say something to people who feel like they want to write, and that is, this is a tough business.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people opt for indie or self-publication, and I guess that's okay if that's what you want to do. It never occurred to me to do that because when I started writing, that wasn't a thing. But it's a difficult business. It's very competitive, and it's just something you have to stay with it, hone your craft, join a writers group because you get support from other writers, which is really how I got my books published, was from support from the people who were in the groups with me.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, yeah.
And if you like PI fiction or if you like mid-grade books, buy my books.
Buy your books, yeah. That's what I'm going to say.
Buy my books.
I was going to close on that pitch. Go to wherever you buy books, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, whatever. Just type in Greg Stout. I just did it right before we came on there. All of his books came up. They're really easy to find. But my advice is don't go and click one time to buy a book. Click 5 times. I like to buy 5 copies of every book I read, and I make everybody else read them at the same time. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I have to always having to go to somebody's party at their house, and you want to take a host gift, take a book. Take a book by Greg Stout. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're fascinating. I could talk to you a lot longer, but my producer's already signaling me to get off the air. But hopefully you'll come back again and again.
I will.
All right. For our viewers, stick around because we'll be back with more authors right after this.